All right. Good evening, everyone. Irish Connection. Yes, you are not late. Bravo. Well done. What's up, Hybrid? Give everybody a few seconds here to jump in as I check the second monitor to make sure that we're good. Oh, wow. I'm actually watching it for the first time on Facebook, and it is actually doing closed caption in real time, and it's actually pretty good. Well, damn. Okay. Was unaware of that. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure you like the stream, please. And let's see, Twitter looks good. All right. What's up, Blametag? Hero, greetings and salutations to you as well. Real quick, so hello, J.E. Good morning, evening to you as well. The first part of the retail therapy sessions released on Monday. The second part part two will release on Friday. Looks like we've got a Sunday coming up for the next one. A lot of fun, different than what we do here. It's a way for all of us to kind of get to know each other and just kind of rant and rave about the shit we put up with. So new fun stuff. So if you're watching and you want to participate in that, let me know, shoot me a message, and we'll kind of go from there. But anyway, tonight we have the Ranty bastard with us, who evidently has been off the microphone for 2 years. Is that correct?
Sadly, yes. It's been way too long, and this is the perfect opportunity to get back in the game. So thank you very much.
Oh, well, thanks for reaching out. Like I said, I believe Adam Cott says it best, rising tides lift all boats. So here we are. What's up, Throat Punch? And Irish says, happy St. Patrick's Day from Ireland. It's St. Patty's Day here as of 1 minute ago. Yeah, you nod owl, you. You are so dedicated. But anyway, tonight we are going to talk about being a fixer and why it sucks. And for anybody that's watching this is wondering what the hell I'm talking about, well, look at it this way. So you're working somewhere as a store manager, and you're done with that, and you're looking online for jobs, and you see all these store manager jobs. Well, don't be fooled. None of those, 99% of the time, are a new store. You're not going to apply for that job and get some bright, brand new, shiny store to go run. Nope. You're going to walk into a situation where it's a store that's probably in the floor, has terrible staffing issues, can't keep a manager, and you're going to go in there and you're going to work yourself to death. And what happens is, if you're good and you fix it, the next time they look at you to put you in another store, it's still not going to be a shiny brand new store. They're going to send you to another shithole to fix. And that's how you get trapped. And when Ranty reached out to me, said he was familiar with that. So give us a little bit of your experience with that, sir.
So I hate being the fixer. Absolutely hate it. Cannot fucking stand it at all, because it is the management equivalent of, everybody that we have that's part-time, that's worked for us, and they do a great job. You give them a little bit extra to do. It's just magnified at the management level. It's, working, getting your stuff done so that you can do everybody else's work. And I mean, as far as a fixer, there's three types of people that do it. There's the brown noser who's just trying to kiss some ass and make a name for themselves. There's someone who's actively trying to get promoted and will fall on any sword that the district manager lays out. So, that store's wrecked? Yeah, absolutely, boss. I can get over there 3 days a week and make it work. These are generally younger, no family life, might have a significant other, but they're pretty career oriented, which leads to the third type, people who are good at their job very early in their retail career. They're just naive. They wonder why. Well, John over at this store has 20 years experience. Wouldn't he be better? Oh, no. You're the perfect guy to go in there and fix it. So it's those three, the young and dumb, the ass kisser, where the guy's trying to make more money, or girl, whatever the case may be. And it only exists really to me for one reason, and it's two people's fault. You've got the only two people to blame are the store manager or the district manager. That's really it. It's general incompetence by either one. So, either the store manager just can't get their shit done in their own store, or the district manager won't hold that store manager or anybody else accountable, whether they're scared of them. It's a favoritism deal. God, I've run into that. And, it was the district manager and this particular store manager played golf together, posted photos of them on the links on the weekends. Okay, the district manager off on the weekend, I get. Store manager off every weekend playing golf with the DM? How the fuck does that happen?
Right.
Favoritism, obviously. And of course, who's going to hold that person accountable? You might say, oh, well, you kicked the ball, man. I got to give you a one-stroke penalty. But your store's fucked up. But hey, you come out every Saturday? Come on, let's go. It's the absolute worst, because not only do you bust your ass, whether willingly or unwillingly, but you have 100% of the responsibility. And that's where it kills, because you have 100% of the responsibility to turn this fucking dumpster fire around, and to do the planograms, to hire people, whatever the case may be. You reap absolutely no benefit from doing this, because I hate to tell you, but thank yous do not pay the goddamn electricity bill. They don't cover car insurance. Yeah, sure. If it's a store far away and you can get that expense report for mileage, hey, that's great. But that shit dries up quick. It's gone really fast, because as soon as they get that expense report and realize, oh damn, we're shucking out 150 a week for this guy to drive over there and fix it. No, I think you got it good now. No, you're making too much money. We're fine. Because the fixer never, ever gets any benefit out of this. And quite frankly, should anybody ever agree to be the fixer, volunteer to be the fixer, I have a very simple 2-word answer for you. Fuck no. In no way, shape, or form should you ever agree to go fix another store by yourself. There are times when it may warrant, that a select crew, usually of store managers, because what's the term? Free labor. Yeah. Store manager, you're salaried, you're free labor. Yeah, look, if 5 or 6 people are there and it's an honest one day's work, that's one thing. But if you have to short your own responsibilities and run the risk of your own place falling apart to go fix somebody else's fuck ups, it's probably not the best idea. Because again, all they're going to do is give you a pat on the back, maybe a little gold star. But when it's time for that next promotion comes up, as has happened to me, no, that favoritism, that nepotism, it will come right back around and bite you in the ass, and you can kiss any chance of getting a company car and a gas card and all that. You just forget it. You wasted however many hours you pumped into some, I don't know, idiot that just couldn't get the job done. You pumped all your time into making that person successful, or at least not getting fired that week, and you got nothing but miles on your car.
Damn, I love you already. Not gonna lie. Yeah, I mean, a lot of what you said there, I mean, shit, that's exactly how it goes. And you're right about, especially the ones that come up, you're good at it quick. And, what happens is you kind of find yourself in a routine. And at one point in time, you actually kind of become a victim of your own bullshit, and you believe it. And you're like, well, I can fix this, and I can fix this, and I can fix this. And it takes years and years and years before you learn, why the hell did I do that? Because you talk about like the brown noser and whatnot. The brown nosers are the ones that get the shiny new stores. They're the ones who's kissed the district manager's ass and been all up in there seeing what's in their intestinal tract. And when the new store comes open, they're like, me, pick me. And it's just automatic. But the guys and gals out there in the trenches who are busting ass and fixing these things, you're never going to get any more money out of it. And you're just going to get shipped to the next problem. And what happens is the younger and more naive you are, you think that's a good thing. So you're thinking like, well, okay, I fixed this one, and now they want me to go fix another one. But you're 100% right. You don't get anything out of it. 9 times out of 10, there's no raises. You may go to a higher volume store, and the raise you get is like the equivalent of like a performance review, which is like 2%, which is never hardly a fucking thing.
Whoa, 2%. Hold on now. Let's not get carried away.
I know, right? But, and what I found, like with me personally, is I tricked myself into thinking that it was a challenge, and I would go in and I'd go to some store that was in the floor or whatnot. And I would like for the first 45 days, damn near kill myself and basically fix it, and flip it by yourself. Cause it's usually what happens. And what do you get out of it? You might get a corporate visit where they say, "Attaboy, you're right. I'm not getting any more money. I'm salary." And like you said, the amount of times you get, that's another thing that you brought up that's perfect. When they discover you are a fixer, not only do they want you to fix your own store, they send you off to fix others. And you're 100% right. The fault is with the store manager whose store you're fixing and the district manager. First of all, if the district manager was worth a damn, those stores wouldn't get in that condition to begin with.
Exactly.
And, and what happens is you wind up on these SWAT teams that go out and fix stores. And the only reason you're doing it is to cover the DM's ass. That's it. Because the DM doesn't want the RVP knowing that, oh, you suck and you let that store fall like that.
Yeah. And how many times have you visited this store in the last month? Oh, I've been here every week, and the entire staff has no idea what the fuck they even look like.
Yeah. Perfect example. And the fuck today, I see you out there and you know this. So I go to be a store manager for a home decor place, right? And I did not know at the time that they had stupid, titles. Your assistant was a store manager and your store manager was a store director. So I take this job, all right? The store is torn all to shit. And all of a sudden I'm there. I don't know, the fuck you may could help me out here. I'm thinking like 4 or 5 weeks into me being there, the store director decides she's leaving. So I go through this interview process, right? They give me the store. I went almost 2.5 to 3 months before I ever met my district manager face to face.
Mm-hmm.
And what happened was the store was in such a shitty condition. There was a person who lived in our town who actually worked for corporate. And she went over the DM's head saying, "Hey, you need to send this guy some help because you just gave him basically a shit pile to clean up." And then it became my fault because the DM had not been there. Now, mind you, I didn't see him. He hadn't been in that store. What was it? The fuck? Like, he hadn't been in that store for like 4 or 5 months.
Jesus.
Had no idea what was going on in that store. And somehow it's my fault. But there again, what happens? They send a bunch of managers. And why? Just to cover for the DM. Had nothing to do with me. They didn't give a shit about me.
Mm-hmm.
It was like, we got to make the DM look good. Just the craziest shit I've ever fucking seen. And yes, I worked my ass off, but found out how crooked these people were. And really and truly, that was the business that broke me and said, that's it, I'm done. What do we got in the chat here? The assistant manager is, in my opinion, everything I wish our head manager would be. That's usually what happens. Your ASMs sometimes wind up being better. There was a question that I want to get your take on, Ranty. Irish Connection said, do fixers suffer burnout faster than ordinary managers in your experience?
Again, it's relative to the district manager. It really is. So I had one district manager that I had a good working relationship with. I'm gonna be perfectly honest. It was in the auto parts industry, and he didn't know that, when you're talking about the driver's side of the car, it's the side that the driver sits in. So that gives you some extent of his automotive knowledge, which certainly didn't help anything related. But he and I had a good working relationship. Yeah, he'd ask a favor. Hey, yeah, sure, man, I can help you out. No problem. Anything I needed, I got it. I didn't mind it. Granted, the one store in particular was in a rough neighborhood, so a lot of it wasn't necessarily the store or the store manager's fault even. Um, and yeah, I went down there several times and cleaned and coached and all kinds of stuff. Really helped them out. Now, on the flip side, when you have a shitty district manager, we want to talk about the fixers always sent here, sent there, sent here, sent there. You get a shitty district manager that you don't have a working relationship with, or a good one. That's when you can take the opportunity to immediately become the black sheep of the district.
Yeah, been
Because
there.
they'll come right to you. Hey, so and so before me told me that you were great at doing this and that. Hey, look, I got a problem over at such and such a store. Hey, man, can you really help me out? Go down there, take one for the team. And if you want to fall on a shit list faster than the Hindenburg going down, all you have to do is say no. Why not? You so the other guy said you do this shit all the time. Yeah, well, he came around, he showed appreciation. I mean, yeah, sure, he bought a cheese pizza for the team one time and cut it into 16 slices, but it's more than you've ever done, so go fuck yourself. I'm not doing it. And now, all of a sudden, my store is getting visited twice a week. My people are being asked questions that are so far in the back of the corporate, jargon and playbook that they don't even know it. Oh, what's this acronym mean? I don't know. Does an acronym help you sell more batteries? No, it doesn't. So who gives a shit? But yeah, you want to put the screws to yourself real quick. Go ahead and say no after you've been a fixer for hell anything more than 3 months, and they will come and fist fuck you harder than you can ever imagine, just because you're tired of the bullshit.
Oh, yes, you are correct. And they know when you're tired of the bullshit because all of a sudden your demeanor and your attitude towards everything changes. And you are right. You become the part of the bad kids group,
Mm-hmm.
And another thing that kind of goes along with that is I believe that as you get older in the business and you've become a fixer, you you become cognizant to all the bullshit, all right? And so you're less likely to put up with more. You don't fall victim to the ass kissing and the nepotism, the favoritism, and you're kind of mouthy in a professional way that you let people know what your thoughts are on it. And that will get you on that blacklist real fucking fast too. To the
Yep.
point that DeFuck Today and I went to this management conference out in Texas, and we sat by ourselves because we were like officially we were like the bad kids group. To the point that our DM came to us and is like, "Can you guys come sit with us?" And we did, but we were like, "Why? You guys don't even like us anyway. You're not sending us any help. We're free thinkers. You think we're assholes because of it." Why? No, we're not part of some team. It's just and I think you know a large part of what you said is 100% true about being young and doing it
Mm-hmm.
because you don't know any better because you're young and your ego's getting stroked and you go do this shit and you don't realize until later on and you get out that you damn near killed yourself. I'll never forget working for Jesus's craft store, being like working. Uh, my record for most hours worked in a week was like 94. Okay. And I did it because I had to get this reset done. What I mean, okay, if they would have fired me, life would have went on, you know. But I was so into this, I'm so good, I can get this done. I damn near killed myself. And now doing the podcast and getting out of having keys and whatnot, I look back and I'm like, damn, I was a stupid fucker.
Yeah, I mean, you're nail on the head right there. Because so what I've found being an ex fixer and now with a different company on account of being fired for that podcast, which my crowning achievement was two things with that. Just to sidebar real fast. A, they had to listen to it after somebody narked me out to the corporate office, DM, whoever it was. They had to listen to lines about, there's 3 C's in retail that'll kill you: customers, corporate, and coupons, and they didn't like that. I had posted an episode the morning that I was fired, where I may or may not have had a little bit too much to drink and complained about a lady. A prototypical Karen came in, raised her voice, screaming, so forth and so on. And on the show at some point, I said I was ready to cunt punt her to the moon. That line, so again, it was released that morning. That line was used in their line of questioning that afternoon.
Wow.
Where the DM in front of HR had to read his notes and say, I mean, come on, you got such a negative attitude towards customers. Right? I mean, you said in one episode you wanted to cunt punt that lady to the moon. And I actually paused from the, they were trying to break me down, so forth and so on. And I just looked at the girl from HR and I was like, you let him talk like that?
Oh, good call.
Yeah, because I mean, at this point, I hadn't fessed up or said, "Yeah, it's me, fuck you." But yeah, that was a crowning achievement, and I completely lost where we were just going prior to that because the word "cunt punt" gets me all kinds of excited.
Well, that's pretty impressive, man. I'm not gonna lie, but but you bring up a good point because I was very uneducated in like the legalities of like labor laws and all this other stuff until I got out and started researching all this and doing the podcast.
Mm-hmm.
And now at this point, it's like, we discussed off stream, how even you were keeping things separate, from your workplace. But now knowing what I know, I haven't crossed any lines, but if they tried to do that, that's not going to end well. Because now I have the knowledge to know, there's some lines you can't cross, and you may can try to intimidate somebody and say that you can. No, I'm gonna be like, okay, come on, let's go.
Yep. Yep. Yeah. That night, I think it was Periscope was still around back then. So I, figured, well, I owe it to the listeners. I'll tell them why we're going to be taking a break. Ended up being like 2 weeks. Why we're going to be taking a break, what happened, so forth and so on. And at some point in that rambling, I apparently threatened to give out the district manager's phone number so that people could, quote, send him a random dick pic.
Wow.
Yeah. Monday morning, there's a knock at my door with a certified letter from a legal attaché advisor, whatever it was. I've long since thrown the letter away, although it was a crowning achievement for some time.
You should have framed that shit.
I should have. I had it right in front of me for the longest time. But the lawyer had to actually write and put in quotation marks, send a random dick pic, when they sent me this letter telling me I could no longer be on their property, go in their stores, shop there, anything. To which I sent a certified letter back and said, why the fuck would I want to do that anyways? No problem.
Yeah. I mean, that's waste of legal paper because, like, would you go back? No.
No. I have yet, in the 5+ years it's been, I have yet to even look at their website to see if they have something I might need in stock. I gladly shop even overpriced competitors. I will never. I will never give them a dime. They don't have to worry about me coming in their building. What do they think I was going to charge in there with an AK or something? Oh, you guys fired me for my podcast. You all have to die. No,
Yeah.
never once.
Now, I've never been obviously, banned from anywhere, but I've shopped at locations, maybe not the exact location I worked in. And sometimes I do it, you know, my tenure at Jesus's craft store wasn't great. I mean, there were a lot of good things that happened, but there was also a lot of bad. But, we'll still go into one. And I like to go into some of these stores to see how it's changed. Have their standards dropped? Have you can tell when shit's going bad for a company by going into some of these stores, and but if one of them told me, hey, you can never walk into a Jesus's craft store ever again, okay, fine. I don't buy anything from there, so it's okay.
I'll see you on Sunday.
Yeah, exactly, and. But yeah, I mean, it's interesting now knowing what I know. There's a lot of threatening activity on how they try to get rid of people that it's just not legal and they can't get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
Hero 130 just posted a quote that we've been using lately at the workplace. But no, there's a long story behind that. But that made me chuckle. But yeah, and in your time there, how many stores did you have to go clean up?
I went through, oh God, 1, 2, 3, 4. Just with that company alone, in the 7 years I was with them, I averaged at least a store a year, if not more. My previous company, same industry, there was a period of time where I was a store manager but did not have a store. So I was essentially the regional bitch.
Oh.
Where now I have to admit, being a district bitch is one thing. Being a regional bitch has its perks. Especially when the regional manager tells you, hey, you need because that's the one that calls you up, not the DM, nobody else. They call you up and say, hey, I need you to go into this store and do whatever you need to do, and I've got your back. Oh, really? You're just going to stroke me that blank check? Okay, we can do that. With that one there, shit, I probably went into 20 stores.
Wow. I didn't get sent on a lot of missions. I think the worst really was Jesus's craft store. And, in those stores really, even back then when the labor was pretty good, they're hard to maintain. I mean, they really are. They can get away from you really, really fast, and it takes a lot of work to get them where you need to get them. But there is nothing worse than having everything good to go, and you've got plans for the week, and your DM calls you and says, hey, I need you in a hotel at such and such, because when I was working for them, it was in the Georgia, the Atlanta market, so there were a lot of stores in the district, so I'm like in this one place, and I'm told, well, I've got you a hotel room booked an hour away. You're going to be working at the other store for a week. And it's like, what the fuck about my own store? I mean, why? Yeah. and you went. And a lot of it was kind of fun. I mean, I will say my relationship with my DM there was better than most. But it's infuriating because you got your own shit to take care of. I mean, you already spent all this time fixing your own fucking store. And now they want you to go bail some other person out. Well, just fucking fire them and get a new manager.
Yeah. Well, and the other thing too that I've found to be a complete screw job is for your own assistance when you're the fixer. So you run off, you go fix a store for a week, 2 weeks, whatever, and your assistants hold shit down. They do a great job. But your store was already running fine. All they had to do was just keep the wheels oiled. No, there was this problem, that problem. They solved this. They did that. They didn't even call me about this because they'd already taken care of it. But being the fixer almost becomes a roadblock for your assistants sometimes. However, now I always have. I've always actively promoted anyone that's worthy of being promoted to any position. Hey, look, we need. I need you to next time on your visit, don't walk with me. Walk with this person. Okay, why? You'll see why. Um, the other nice thing about being an ex fixer, and this is where I derailed uh, with being banned from a certain place forever. Um, being an ex fixer, let's say you go to another store for something mundane like an inventory. You walk around, you look at that store, you realize this place is a clusterfuck, and you keep it to yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Because especially if that store is closer to home, you eventually want to weasel your way into that store, whether it's a transfer or, hey, I notice my store is closer to your house and your store is closer to my house. Hey, maybe we go to the boss and ask about switching. Only because you know you're going to make money. And
Yep.
bonuses, I mean, sometimes it's such a simple fix. Straight in the back room, get the freight out. Oh my God, look at that. Oh, that store's running great now. And the other store's not running bad at all. Okay, cool. I went in, I fixed a couple things. I made some bucks for myself. No shame in it. But it gives you the eye to spot those opportunities where you can say, yeah, I could take this one. I could take, and not even in a challenging standpoint. It's really okay. I can do a couple things without branding myself as a fixer because it's stuff that's obvious to you. It should be obvious to the district manager, which it clearly is not. And you can say, hey, so and so and I, we were talking. Maybe we switch stores a little closer to home. Oh, okay. And I mean, I've done it in my own role with my current employer, and I'm not going to lie, it paid dividends financially. And it was all because I was over there for an inventory, saw that, I don't know, maybe four things needed to be fixed. It wasn't a complete nuclear meltdown. I wasn't taking over Chernobyl, but it was just enough. I went in, fixed it. Hey, look at that. First quarter I'm there, big fat bonus check. Talked to the previous manager, they didn't bonus at all. Well, sorry to hear that.
That makes sense. I will say that most places I had to go fix, though, I had no desire to go to.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, and that's the bad part. But, you know, inventories, I mean, one of the big keys, and it seems to be typical when SWAT teams have to go in, it's always freight. It's always the back rooms packed full.
Oh, yeah.
And and you go and you help and you work a bunch of freight and you get it out and that's great. But what happens is a lot of those situations you go bail this manager out and 12 managers go in work all the freight and then all of a sudden next month you get a phone call, you got to go back and do it again. And I think that says a lot about what you talked about with the DMs. It was fixed, but here we are 30 days later, and as a DM you let it get back to that point.
Yep.
And
The DM should be in there every single week after you have to send a cleanup crew in there. If you have to tell people bring tarps and bleach and go into a store at your behest, and then you don't follow up diligently, like on a more than regular basis, you're the fucking problem.
yep, 100%. And I mean, I don't know. I mean, for the longest time, you know, my wife could attest to this. I'd walk through a store. Sometimes I'd interview with somebody, and her and I would walk through the store. And there were times, I mean, and I got, I've got to give her credit. She's typically right all the time. I'll never forget walking through the decor store. She's like, "Do you really want to do this?" And I was like, "Sure." And she was right. She's always right. I got to say that. But, some of them I'd walk through, and there was a point in time where I was just like, had something to prove, but to who? To myself. I mean, because, my typical operation was I would go, because I knew I was getting a shitty store wherever I got hired. I would walk it. I'd go in there before I actually took the job and see what I was dealing with and kind of plan out in my head what I was going to do. And typically 30 to 45 days, I, being the kind of stores that I worked at, the way I did it, honestly, was I would go in and I would tell the staff that was there, handle the front end. I'd start on the very first aisle of the store and would work just about every single day until every aisle in that store was immaculate. And raise my hands up afterwards like, ta-da, I'm done. And but at the end of the day, I missed time. I mean, it was, I put in too much. And I'm just glad that things happen in my life the way they have, because looking back at it, man, the amount of time I wasted doing that shit, dude, it's not worth it. I didn't get anything out of it. I don't have anything to show for it. I mean,
Oh no.
other than mental scars. Irish had asked, as a fixer, do the employees resent you? Do they view you as a corporate asshole?
Um, there were a few employees who, when it came to procedural stuff, gave pushback. Oh, we've always done it this way at this store. Okay, cool, great. So you've always been wrong, and even common sense, let alone corporate nomenclature, dictates you shouldn't do that. It's just dumb. You'd have I mean, it's no secret. Anytime you buy a $200 battery, any auto parts store's got to get you for another $3 for those battery washers and the dielectric grease, which literally costs them 5 cents because they don't make enough profit on a battery as it is. But I went into one store and they were giving it away every time somebody bought a battery. They would ring it up, discount it to zero, give it away. And I had a couple employees. No, we've always done it that way. That's the only way people will do it. And so I said, hey, look, man, all you got to do is talk to them, explain this and that, and they'll buy it. I mean, shit, they're already spending $200 on a battery. And yes, that came off as a corporate answer. However, things turned around. That was the whole reason I was sent in there. I was doing what I thought was my job at the time. And I mean, it realistically, I was just trading time for money. We all recognize that. Because thank yous, again, don't pay the bills. I wouldn't say there was a whole lot of resentment. There was pushback, but I was good enough at talking to people that I just didn't know on like a very basic level. You get in there, I'd walk into a store and the employees would be wearing, ball cap of their favorite football team. Hey, cool. I watch football. I know who your quarterback and your coach are. So I go in, hey, yeah, you think so-and-so's going to throw for over 300 this week? Oh, you a such and such? No, I'm a fan of these guys, but what do you think? And start the conversation there. And it was very easy to not come off as, somebody sent down from atop the ivory tower in Unicorn Utopia, wherever the corporate office is, where everything is perfect and planograms are always drawn with the perfect amount of spacing. I don't know why you guys are complaining. There were maybe in that time, oh God, like 15 years in that industry, maybe 2 employees that just had that, fuck you, you don't work in this store attitude. A lot of employees recognize when the ship is taking on water and they don't even have to be the captain. They can go, hey, yeah, we're kind of drowning here, man. We could definitely use some help. What do you suggest? Because, a lot of people have that common sense as long as they're on our side of the register. Because sweet Jesus, we know anybody standing in front of the cash register, that shit checks out as soon as they cross the threshold. Common sense? No, gone. They always have to ask you what 20% off $100 is. Doesn't matter if they're a brain surgeon from Johns Hopkins.
Yeah. One thing that I had happen to me was, like I said, a lot of my SWAT missions were, for Jesus's Craft Store. I did there, a person's perception is their reality. And,
Oh, yeah.
I will say that there was a nickname for our DM, and it was Mama. All right. And very quickly, I became known as one of Mama's boys. And, just because I was doing what my boss told me to do. So
Yep.
So that did stick with me there. I also found out later on, one of my last gigs, uh, Russell, that, and I never knew this until, well, my wife says I probably should have known, but I didn't. Evidently the perception was I was that DM's boy too. And it just so happened that, my career there, I went into a store that, by all accounts had failed for 12 years as far as keeping it clean. Russell, who's in the chat, was part of this. He was part of this team. We cleaned it up, and we were like the first people in like 12 years to get this thing decent. And it was hard, man. That's probably the hardest location I've ever worked in. I mean, just to give you an idea of the clientele, the area that I was in, there was a homeless problem, there was a meth problem, there was a mental health problem, and I was dealing with people that I'll never forget. Somebody coming in and asking for balloons, and I'm like, okay, what do you want? And they picked out a bouquet of balloons that said, "It's your day," like a celebratory balloon, right? It was for a funeral. So that tells you what kind of people
Get well soon.
Right, that I was dealing with. So yes, there were people that looked at me differently there. And, and it wasn't anything malicious. It's kind of like you said, you go and you do the job, that you're asked to do. Now, one thing I do want to ask you is you're talking about this store, giving away stuff for free. And I do believe that what you said about a DM not being worth a damn, don't you think a good DM would have caught the fact that that store was giving shit away for free?
Oh, I said it's in a rough neighborhood, and so you had Mama. This DM had a bowl cut, and we're talking Jim Carrey, Dumb and Dumber, like it got trimmed on a daily, not a hair too long. Except he had that hair that didn't just lay flat. So he very quickly earned the nickname Dick Boy. And he would pull up in the parking lot, and I would hear one of my employees come over the radio and be like, "Oh God, hey, just letting you know, TRB, the penis is here." And oh, you mean Dick Boy? Yeah, Dick Boy's here. So that was fantastic. But being that Dick Boy was, suburbanite white guy, played golf on the weekends with his store manager best friend, who again somehow had every fucking weekend off, despite his overture of, you guys can't be taking weekends off. You can take one out of the 2 days, but it can't be Saturday, so we can be off on Sunday. Well, you're probably going to need to be in there on Sunday to do tasks to start the week off. So you're telling us don't take weekends off. Okay, well, what did Dick Boy Jr. shoot? Was he 10 over par or what? That got squashed real quick. I'm sure they continue to play golf, but they quit posting it on their Facebook pages. But yeah, it's the fixer. God, I so many bad memories coming back now. I hadn't thought about for some time, but yeah, I will never do it again. I mean, even if it's a new store setup where there's no customers, nothing, nah, I'm sorry. I got a dentist appointment that day. Yeah, they're doing some major work. It's going to take some time, and they're going to use anesthesia. I'm terribly sorry, boss.
Well, to your point about bad memories, Irish had posted earlier in the chat that it was giving him PTSD because, he had done this whole thing too, which he asked, what's your opinion of HR?
Useless.
Pretty universal.
Easiest one word answer I can give it. Absolutely useless. HR is nothing more than a bunch of teat-suckling paralegals who are just bathed in the lie that they're here for you, when in actuality, all they're doing is protecting the company from getting sued for anything.
Yep. We've went over that ad nauseum. I just, HR is not your friend ever. I mean, Hybrid, I know you had sent me that message. What was it? When you walk in and LP and the DM is in your store, nothing good can come from that. It's kind of the same thing. And
Yep.
Ranty, would you not agree? And everybody in the chat, this is something I thought about the other day. We know our gut does not lie. We know when certain people are in our building, the bad shit's going on. Would you agree, Ranty?
Oh, absolutely. If the DM plus one shows up, something's fishy. If the party is three or bigger, shit's going down. Shit is going down, guaranteed. My previous DM, fucking asshole that he is, and still is, to the point where not long after I got fired, I ran into the store manager that took over my location. He had been informed by that same DM if I ever set foot in there, he was not to engage or even speak to me, but to only call the police. Okay. All right. Yeah. Once again, apparently you were scared of me because somebody might have sent you a dick pic. But anyhow, yeah, if three or more show up, shit is going down, and it's not any kind of active investigation. It's nothing that's a slow boil. If that party is three or more, shit is going down within 15 minutes of them walking in the door. And if your name is called, depending on the severity of what you know you may or may not have done, hell, it might be time to just say, all right, well, I'll see you guys later. Have a nice day. Drop the keys and just walk out.
Yep. Yep. Real quick, Iron Maiden says, I remember being the fixer to stores with low credit card applications because our numbers were so high. And it was torture because some people just don't want credit cards. Also turns out that our best cashier was scamming people into opening cards by promising they would get a discount, which they only got if they got approved.
Oh God.
Ooh.
That's honestly, if I had 4 C's of retail, credit card would be, I don't know if it counts as 4 and 5 because they both start with C. Of course, it's customers, coupons, corporate. But credit card, I mean, has anybody ever looked at the terms of an in-house credit card?
No, they never do.
No, and they're the fucking worst, the lowest. And I mean the lowest interest rate I have ever seen on a store credit card was 30%.
Damn.
And I had a customer going to apply for it, and it was only because he was making a large purchase. I said, hey, if you're spending this much, if you want to do the credit card, you get interest deferred for up to 18 months, since you're spending over, I think it's like $1,500 or whatever it is. And he said, okay, cool, I'll do it. And he got 90% of the way through the application. And unlike 99% of the people that do anything inside of a store that don't work there, he read. And as he's scrolling through the screen, he goes, holy shit. 29.99%?
Mm-hmm.
He said, you know what? I'll just put it on my Amex.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, if you can do it, man, I am not going to argue, because the second, if you have a dollar balance at 18 months in a day, guess what? All that interest on that 15, 25, however much he was spending, all that interest comes back at you on that day. He's like, no, 30%. And, he then, goes on to tell me how much he makes a year and what his credit score is, other things I could really not give a fuck about. But I'm just like, look, man, I'm looking out for you. You're telling me you're doing it for this. Okay, cool. I'm telling you, yes, no matter what your credit score is, if it's minus 200 or 820 or whatever the max is, because I will never know, it's 30%. That's what you're going to pay.
Yep.
Unbelievable.
It is unbelievable. And where you worked, I'm almost 100% sure you sold extended warranties too, didn't you?
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. I've worked for several companies and do that. I'm going to just go on record as saying Guitar Centers was good. All right. Guitar Centers was excellent, but everywhere else was not. When I worked for Kmart, which I'll say Kmart out loud because they only have 2 damn stores left. So come
And they
after
don't know
me.
how to use the internet.
No, they don't. So I'll never forget reading the terms of their quote unquote smart plan. And it was like, will not cover incidents from acts of God or war. And I'm like, well, okay. So that means floods, you're not going to cover, and you're pay. The most horrible thing, and my oldest son worked for GameStop at one time, and we used to just chuckle about, and it was the same way at Kmart, us trying to sell extended warranties on like video games and CDs. Come on,
Yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Let's talk about disc rot, which is happening. None of those warranties cover against disc rot.
Nope.
So it's like whatever. But I just don't know. I mean, oh, and Hero says they'll ship your pants. God, I worked there when that went down. That was the most terrible thing I've ever fucking seen, ever.
Oh,
So
that's just a sidebar on that. The pandemic has taken stores and companies that they've never done any kind of shipping to a customer ever from the store level and turned almost every store into a ship from store location. And if you want to talk about a raging clusterfuck, ship from store is one of the worst ideas they ever had. They looked at it purely from a dollar amount. Okay, we don't have to buy another one from a vendor. The store in Chattahoochee has, those jeans in stock, and we can just have them send those jeans from there to the customer and, in Lompoc. But oh my God, they have inundated the stores to the point, and I mean, and it includes even pickup, click list at Kroger and shit like that.
yeah,
I won't shop at Kroger because I have to navigate an aisle with 15 fucking aircraft carriers and people picking orders so somebody can come get it at their scheduled appointment at 7:30. I mean, look, I'm for the convenience, but Jesus Christ, does your shopping cart for the online order have to be the size of a Buick Roadmaster?
yeah. Speaking of that, Kmart tried to do this My Gopher thing, that ship from store crap. My God, that was awful because they had it programmed into our radios and it'd be like, "There's a My Gopher order," and I mean, Kmart was a shit show anyway. They had no business even trying to do that.
No.
But here we were, and no surprise. There's only two stores left, and actually, I think one of them just closed. I think the last two are in New Jersey, and one of them just shut down. So not a surprise.
So we can count on the last Kmart on Netflix in about 10 years, where it'll be the opening will be the blue light flashing, and were you a child of the 80s?
Oh
Do
yeah.
you remember Kmart? Well, let's take you on a nostalgic tour of the last Kmart left in Juneau, Alaska.
Oh, that's awesome. But full disclosure, when I was a young boy, and actually when I was into my teens, Kmart was the shit. Their deli was
Absolutely.
great. They had these things called JoJo fries, which were like these battered like potato planks. Shit, that was the bomb. And then they went all to hell. Real quick, I've got a question for you, Ranty, and a question for the chat. What do you think about in the very near future an episode with you, myself, and Irish Connection?
I'm sold already. I'm actually looking at the chat myself right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm all for it. Let's just set it up, get a date and time, and I'm good to go.
Irish. See, Irish messaged me on the side, on the low while we're talking, and we love you.
Oh,
You
Irish is on screen 3.
Oh yeah, you fit all this perfectly, and I'm sorry that you haven't been on the mic for 2 years because it sounds like that's a damn shame. You should have been.
Well,
So,
and like I said, so when I revealed, and put a face to the name on Periscope years ago, I knew that that probably wasn't the best idea I ever had. Furthermore, my employer has somehow marked, I don't know if it's my Twitter handle or the old URL for the show, um, but I have checked, and there are some subtle references to why I quit slash got fired. So another great, shine off moment that I had was, I've got these three asshats. They're behind the store. They're talking to me. Oh, you said you come punt a lady to the moon. I don't know what you're talking about. Blah blah blah. There came a point in that interrogation, because it wasn't an interview. I knew they had me, and even if I hadn't said, all right, fuck it, I quit right then and there, I knew the bullseye on my back was so big that I could never do another show while working there again. Because furthermore, I knew at some point a reference to these three dickheads would come up. Um, so I looked at the one district manager who I'd never really worked with, shook his hands. It was nice meeting you. I looked at the HR girl and I said, I don't know why you're here. You don't do shit. I turned to my DM and I said, good luck. Go fuck yourself. I held the keys out in my hand, and as soon as he stuck his little mitt out to grab them, I fired them out across the street and said, fetch boy. Those are the last two words I ever said to him. Well, I guess the last four were the best. It was fuck you, fetch boy. And as I turned to walk back in the door, I watched him start walking to go get the keys. And I was in a moment of rage and all that. I didn't say anything to any of my employees. Obviously, they've been around me enough. They know the rule of three coming in for a visit. Shit's going to go down. Shit went down. I made it to my car and started it, and my phone exploded. Text messages, people trying to call. And I just, I gave it a couple hours. And, after that, I talked to everybody. Actually had three employees. One who was an assistant manager, and two part-timers who were there at the time of it going down, that told me that they had looked the DM straight in the eye and quit on the spot.
Nice.
Yeah. But I like that. Yeah, Iron Maiden. Yes, that is epic. I'm telling you, it's an image burned in my brain forever, and I love it.
I want to say from that story alone, ladies and gentlemen, not all heroes wear capes. That's some great shit. So, listen, man, I'd like to have you back on anytime you want to be on. I have enjoyed this greatly. You obviously, as Irish and I were discussing, why this is going on, you obviously know your shit. And it's a shame that, what happened to you happened, and you need to be back on the mic. So let's work some shit out.
I am on board with that. I will gladly accept any invite that you throw at me. Like I said, we make the schedules work, and I'm absolutely on board. And again, I appreciate everybody in the chat. Although I do have to bring up one thing. So, and this is just me personally. I 100% agree with employees are more than a controllable expense.
Hot damn. What's the meme? One of us.
Yes. But my take on it is employees are an investment.
Amen.
And I simply look at that from the standpoint of, even if I invest my time in you and make you a better cashier and you go somewhere else, you're better off. You've left, especially if it's a shithole company, and you've said, hey, I got an offer to go work at Target. They really like me in my interview. A lot of the things that you taught me, helped me get that job. I brought those things up in the interview. Hey, look, they're going to pay me $15 an hour. You guys are paying $9.50. Hey, by all means, go. I'm never going to stop you for bettering yourself. But to make corporate try and understand it, I say it's an investment because, okay, we're going to pay this guy or girl $10 an hour. Okay. If I don't invest anything in them, they're not going to bring any return on that investment to you as the company who's funding that $10 an hour. The $10 an hour isn't coming out of my pocket. But if I take the time, or, my assistant managers, supervisors, anybody takes their time and says, hey, when you're doing this, try and do it this way. Or, hey, don't just, hey, you paying with your credit card? Don't start like that. You know, hey, just be a little more personable. I'm not asking you to give them a fucking hand job when they come up to the register. Just be a little more personable. Anything. And all of a sudden, productivity goes up and the company starts making more money on simple little investments. And now the return on investment continues to grow. And again, their own my investments in them, yeah, it might lead them somewhere in the company. It might lead them somewhere else. But I know they've left a better person. I know they've left a better employee at least. And yeah, just another quick point. I will always hire people based on their personality. I have never hired anyone based on a resume. I've never hired anyone based on where they went to school. I've never based any kind of hiring decision on their GPA. I could give a fuck if you have a GED or a PhD, because I can teach you everything in the store pertaining to the job I'm hiring you for. I can't teach you how to not be an asshole.
Man, this has been fucking fantastic. And let me just tell you, I needed this because obviously the subject matter we've been covering recently has been pretty dark. And
Yeah.
and damn, if this is not a great way to get back into the swing of things, amazing. Thank you so much,
Oh,
for coming on. We look, as long as you're down, we're gonna do a lot in the future, sir. Like I said, over here on screen 3, I got shit blowing up, and yeah, this has been fantastic. So, having said that, if going forward in the future, if there's anything that is burning your ass up that you want to talk about, shit, dude, just send me a message and we'll go. And I know April, I'm going to try to get some servers on. I've got a couple of people, and also in April, I have a lady who did a study on protective gear for grocery workers. They actually did a study out west with grocery stores talking about how it worked and what the statistics were on PPE for grocery workers versus not having them.
okay. Well, I'm glad you clarified PPE, because if you were talking about grocery workers in Detroit, that would be a totally different kind of protective gear.
Oh, yes. Those are riot shields and pistols, but and batons and tasers.
Please make sure your bulletproof vest is on underneath your apron.
Yeah, exactly. So I can do Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Monday. I can do whenever. But this has been fucking fantastic. I want to thank you. And I also want to say congratulations to getting back on the microphone after you haven't been on in a while. You obviously know what you're doing, and that is fantastic. Irish and I will be in touch with you.
Excellent. I have to thank you, and again everybody in the chat for this catharsis, because again, I really haven't gotten on the mic and talked retail and all the shit we deal with on a daily basis I mean, I didn't even do a dedicated retail podcast since 2018. The last show I did, again, it was more of we just did some goofy shit and we got drunk on the air. It was fun.
Well, I mean, here's the thing, like you said on Twitter, 2 years worth of retail angst built up. So that's a lot of content, bro.
Oh yeah. And I will catch up with you offline here, and if I can unearth some of the old episodes that I have saved here in Audacity, I'll send you a few.
Send me some.
Absolutely.
Awesome. So thank you once again. This has been fucking fantastic. Good things. Everybody, Wednesday, not real sure yet. We'll see what happens. We'll be crossing over into server month here very soon. We've got some takers there. Who knows what's going to happen? Who knows what the next topic's going to be? But as always, I want to thank everybody for being here. The audio will go up for this here in the next couple of hours or whatnot once I download it and convert it over, and then we'll be good to go. And also remember, Friday, part 2 of the retail therapy sessions will be up. That's worth listening to, because I incriminate myself greatly with workplace shenanigans. Trust me, there's some crazy shit in there. You'll enjoy. you'll actually laugh. So, and Blametag had a really, really good one too. And I want to thank Cranky Manager for participating in that as well. That was a great conversation. So if you haven't listened to that, go back and listen. She is excellent. It's nice. We get Irish connection and his, take on what's going on in Ireland, and then Cranky's in Canada. So we get that too. So fantastic stuff. But everybody, thank you so much for being here, and we will see you next time. Peace out.